If you've ever had a remarkable coach, mentor, or boss in your life, the kind of person who shows up with exactly the encouragement, perspective, and direction you needed, well, you know how powerful that can be. Unfortunately, not everyone has had access to leaders like that. And that's why I started this show. I'm your host, JB Bolton. I've seen firsthand what happens when great leadership comes alongside people who are trying to grow. This show is about being that kind of leader, the kind who coaches well, the kind who encourages deeply, the kind who helps others ultimately move forward. You're listening to Hey Coach. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us live here from the Bolton Co. headquarters, the mothership in Monument, Colorado. It's a snowy day. We're live. It's Friday, March 6th. And I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today, Adam Cruz. Let me tell you about Adam. This guy is a design strategist, keynote speaker, product leader. He spent more than 20 years helping really ambitious leaders, probably like yourself, turn some creative ideas, some bold ideas into reality. And along the way, he's worked at companies like Intuit. You may have heard of them before. And the startup Zimi, building products that are used by millions of people and helping drive some meaningful growth in the tech world. But Adam's story isn't just about building products and leadership. It's also about what happens when ambition goes unchecked. And after years of operating at an unsustainable pace, Adam experienced firsthand what he calls unregulated ambition. It's the kind that can quietly erode your health and your relationships, and even to some extent, your sense of identity. And that journey ultimately led him to create two really powerful frameworks, the Traction Playbook and the Healed Hustle. He's the founder of both of those, which help founders and mission-driven leaders pursue big visions without losing what matters most. So today, Adam works with leaders who want to build meaningful ventures and ultimately be able to sustain them for the long haul. You guys, people pay this dude to be on stage and share his story and inspire other people. And I'm just going to invite you in to a conversation. So help me welcome Mr. Adam Cruz. Adam, great to have you, man.
Hey, good to be with you, JB.
Yeah, thanks for being here today, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of set you up with the little intro, but from your perspective, dude, tell us, what's kind of the most exciting work for you right now?
Oh man, lots of things in motion right now, but one of the most exciting things is we've got a publishing date coming out for a new book, so that's exciting work, and my first time writing a book, so a new experience as well.
Hey, congratulations, man! That's a huge milestone. Okay. I got to see like at some point this morning, I was on a Slack message with Adam and I saw this photo of you signing the publishing agreement at the table. That's like a significant milestone. So tell us about this book, dude. Hey, we know Adam before he's famous. Adam, tell us about this book.
Yeah. Well, I wish it was like that. This is me saying, please take me in.
Tell us about the book, man.
Yeah. It's kind of, as you said, I have spent years building ground up products from 0 to 1, whether it was, planning churches to starting tech ventures. And I love that journey, and I have a heart for founders and a heart for what it takes to bring something to life. It's a hard journey. Some call it insanity, some call it crazy. It's not something that's prescriptive, and so it can come with a lot of extra baggage on your life, or it can add to a lot of complexity in your life as you're trying to navigate the complexity of launching something for real.
Totally.
And bring it to market.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. and you're talking about two kind of crazy worlds, pastor, pastor and tech.
Yeah.
That's like all the crazy people. That's a big, like, the Venn diagram on crazy people, the intersection of crazy people, pastors, and tech leaders. That's got to be a big, like a center section on the Venn
Yeah.
diagram.
Yeah. We're all crazy enough to think we can touch the world somehow. And it takes a little insanity
Oh,
to
dude.
actually think you can do that. You can
Yes,
do it.
I love that line. We're crazy enough to think we can change the world somehow.
Yeah.
That is I love that, man. That was awesome. Okay. Talk to us first of all about just a little bit about your background. And I think the question I want to lead with that I usually do on this show is, hey, was there a coach or a teacher or a boss or a mentor, somebody early in your life that had a real impact on you, whether it be positive or negative? Tell us a little bit about that.
I love that question. I was actually just talking with somebody a couple of days ago about a similar um, lens on this question. And I, was real looking back on my life, and I've had great people in my life, and I'm thankful for those who have invested in my life. And so it's not to say that there weren't people who invested in my life, but as I look back in startup life, most of my life, I didn't have mentors. And a lot of the reason why I'm building the Healed Hustle and the book that we're writing and the work that we're doing is, what does it look like to come alongside leaders who are trying to figure all this out, but they're often very alone.
Yeah.
And that was my experience. It was like, I had great partners and great, like, people that I was serving next to. That wasn't the question, but having somebody outside that is leading and helping guide you, coach you, raise you up, provide insight, that didn't exist. And for a lot of people didn't exist.
Mm.
And you're trying to grow up on your own. You're trying to figure out these, like, complex things out on your own, and you're trying to make stuff happen, and you're trying to do it fast. And so you run hard and you run fast until you realize you are all alone and you can't keep going this way. And so
Wow.
it was a journey of realizing, like, man, I keep hitting a ceiling and I don't have anybody around me helping me break through that.
Why
Um,
didn't you have anyone around you, man? Like, you're the first person that I've talked to that, like, answers that in the the negative, in terms of, like, no, like, why? Is it common? Maybe it's more common than I realize. Like, maybe there are a lot of people who feel like, dude, I do not have an advocate or a mentor or a coach or, like, somebody that's like
yeah.
like speaking into my life. Maybe it's more common than I realize. You have opinions on that?
I think it's something that I've spent years trying to unpack and figure out. But
Hmm.
for me, I don't think it was somebody else not seeing me. It was me not making myself available and
Ah,
not seeking it out. It had to do with um my own, and this, I guess, goes a little bit deeper quickly, but, like, my own insecurity that I should be enough. I should have what it takes. I should, um, you know, I should at 24 years old know how to do all of this stuff.
huh.
And because there was a lie that I wasn't good and that I wasn't enough. And so you just try to show up like you are enough, which it removes yourself from accountability. It
Yeah,
removes
man.
yourself from inviting people into your world to speak into it. And what I have found is that leaders who last are leaders who have great mentors and people that are in their life. They invite that in. And leaders who don't have removed all of that from their life.
Wow. Wow, man. I think you hit the nail on the head with something, just in terms of a self-limiting belief, and, I should have the answers. And so you end up inadvertently closing off that feedback or those leaders to speak into your life. I can definitely think about seasons, like, in my own life where I'm sure I did that as well.
Yeah.
What was the breakthrough for you? Was there an early breakthrough for you that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this and I don't know if I'm asking the question right, but, like, at what point did you snap out of that? And what was it that What was it that helped you realize it was happening? Like, because what if it's happening for some of our listeners now? How do they know? Like, how do they
Yeah.
know? Like, what's the reframe for you that you're like, oh, okay, let me unlock this? I mean, first of all, I think it's just an acknowledging or being aware of, am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
But what was it for you?
Well, I wish there was like some like brilliant answer that was like, you know, I did something special and this unlocked everything for my life. And
Yeah,
honestly, it's like you don't have language for what you don't know.
yeah,
And you're just trying your best. You're working hard, you're grinding, you're putting in the time, you're building stuff, you're scaling, you're going from 0 to 1, you're just trying to figure it out. And I think for me, it got to a point. They say none of us change. There's only two things that make us change: pain and God. And
mm,
for most of us, we don't submit ourselves to letting God speak into our life like that, and so it's just pain.
mm,
And so once you experience enough pain, you change, and that's true in health, right? Like I don't know that I need to go hire a physical trainer that can coach me and make me healthy, or a doctor that can like understand my, hormone balances and my blood work and all the
yeah,
things
yeah,
and help me get on track. The people that do those things, they stay healthy, but most of us don't, because nothing hurts, nothing's wrong, nothing's broken until something's broken and something
right.
hurts.
Of
And then you're
course.
like, I need something in my life. And for me, that came about 10 years ago in my life, and in a moment where I said enough's enough. Like I caught a glimpse of where I was headed if I kept things going the way they were going. And
Yeah.
it terrified me where my life was headed, and I didn't know where to go. And so the first place I went was out of state to a counselor, and found a counselor that for the first time in my life I ever even started talking about where I'm at and what I'm experiencing.
Holy
And that was
cow.
probably my first coach.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, okay. Thank you first of all for trusting us with your story, man. It is powerful. I think it takes a lot of courage just to show up and share with that kind of candor, frankly. And it makes me wonder how many of us are out there that maybe are experiencing the same sort of thing that you experienced, but don't realize it or don't have the language
Mhm.
for it because they don't know what they don't know. To your point,
Yeah.
so what were the tells? Like looking back now, obviously you had a moment. There was some kind of like moment or breaking point that
Yeah.
led you to this. Like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to a counselor. To the extent that you're comfortable, I'm sure this is coming up in your book. I bet you're
Yeah.
sharing this. I know I'm curious about that moment. Maybe even before I get there, looking back, knowing what you now know, what were
Mm.
some of the early tells for you? Like if somebody thinks, gosh, maybe this is me, or how do I know if this is me?
Yeah.
Like, are there some early tells for you that looking back, they start to show up and say, ooh, I am bumping up against the rev limiter a little here. How did you experience that?
Yeah. The way I explain this now is different than what I would have language for then.
Okay.
What I would have language for then is, uh, my marriage is a mess. In fact, I don't even know if our marriage is going to make it. Um, I am an addict. I don't know how to create breakthrough. I I'm exhausted. I started having physical manifestations. There's a book out there called The Body Keeps Score, which is
Okay.
brilliantly unpacks a lot of this stuff that we experience. But twitching eyes, problem with my eyes. There's physical manifestations that you're
Okay.
not healthy, you're not doing well,
Yep.
and this is unsustainable. What I have language for now that I've realized is that there really are, um, what I call the 7 hidden variables of success they're in the inner life. And so much of my life for years is like all you focus on is the outside. It's the outer life. It's like what I'm building, the mission I'm on, the impact I'm having on the world. And It's interesting because we measure, we have all kinds of tools in measuring
Yeah.
the success of those missions.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, many times they're placed on us or like their requirements. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and there's zero like we don't let a week go by without like the indicators to your point, like what are the signals or the indicators? It's
Right.
funny because in business it's like we have all kinds of signals and indicators
Right.
that things aren't well.
Right.
Revenue, profit,
Yes.
customers,
Yes.
like we have all these indicators. So I started asking like, what are the indicators of the inner life?
Yeah.
Because I think about it kind of as a concentric circle or two circles of like, man, we focus on the outer life, but the inner life is what determines whether or not you're going to be able to last. And I call them the 7 hidden variables because we're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
And those are, what are my beliefs? What is my motivation? What is my pace? What is my behavior? What is my community? What is my recharge, like my personal habits and health? And what is my perspective? And those all point to indicators of how well and how sustainable we actually are. And I like to say, it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
You're either moving towards chaos in those 7 areas,
okay,
or you're moving towards sustainability. They're not stagnant. Like your pace is either headed towards a chaoticness or it's headed towards sustainability. Your beliefs and your thoughts and your narratives are either pointing towards a chaotic outcome or they're pointing towards sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so today, if somebody was curious about like that, then they would look at these different, domains or questions, right?
Yeah.
And maybe kind of assess, like they could do some sort of a self-assessment, right? I'm assuming, do you have like a tool or do we wait for your book, or like would you point us to a particular place where we could go and kind of, for somebody that's curious or being like, I wonder how I'm showing up right now, where would they find that?
Yeah. Well, right now we have an assessment that you can take, and it's really that first step of just that most of us honestly struggle with, is just being honest and taking inventory.
Yeah.
Where am I really at? How am I really doing? A lot of guys take the assessment and then they're like, I'm going to have my wife take the assessment on me. And it's funny because, as high achieving, driven guys, like I was talking to an individual that went to a doctor, had an eye problem, physical eye problem, driven leader. And he was concerned about some problems with his eye. It was like had a growth on the eyeball.
Okay.
It was fascinating. And the doctor asked him, how's your stress? And he said, I'm not stressed. Like I don't have a stressful life. I love my life. And the doctor said, that's what you all say. And he said, this is only brought on by stress. It's nothing else. And so we have this amazing ability to think that we can manage it all. And I think that, to go back to your question a couple questions ago, is like, I got to this point where I realized like, I can't manage this anymore. I thought I could. I thought I was resilient enough and strong enough, and realizing that like there's so much chaos in my life, it's falling apart, that I can't manage this anymore. And if I don't get a coach, a mentor, a person in my life to start helping me restore the inner life so that the outer life can be successful, I'm going to lose.
Dude, wow. Okay, we got to know, dude. Tell us this moment. Like what went down?
Well, I mean, for me, it was a long series of events, but it was a life ultimately trying to prove that I was enough. And when you do that long enough, you actually are successful, ironically, because that's what your entire motivation is built around, is proving these lies untrue.
Right.
And so I like to tell people or ask people a lot of times, like, why do you really do what you do? Simon Sinek talks a lot about finding your why. And I love that, like, thinking and his language around finding your why.
Sure.
My push on it is, I want to help people heal your why. because
Ah,
you can find a why. You can find a why all day long for why you do what you do. But a lot of times, if we're honest, our why is unhealed. And when it's unhealed, we don't recognize where our ambition is actually coming
what
from.
do you mean?
Why do you
Yeah.
why
What?
do you really serve the poor? You know, do you really serve the poor from a place that's healthy, or are you trying to earn some kind of significance? Why do you really do what you do? And for a lot of us, I mean, I've talked to people who I'm trying to write this book because I'm trying to prove my dad that I have what it takes.
Mm,
What a burden to write a book under.
right.
I'm going to be successful because X, Y, and Z told me I never would amount to anything. So I'm going to prove them wrong. So my entire motivation, the outer life looks pure, it looks successful, it looks in some ways even a calling and a purpose.
Right.
I'm planting a church, I'm doing ministry life, I'm doing these things, but underneath it's unhealed.
Wow.
And for me, what was unhealed was this lie that I wasn't enough. And so what it produces in me is an insane work ethic that creates exhaustion, and the
Right.
exhaustion leads to compromising, addictions and behavior in my life that ultimately were leading to the end of my marriage. And there was a point when I realized that I was at the end of my relationship with my wife, and we were wondering if we wanted to even stay married anymore, continue on. And I had a choice, like, do I keep driving the way I'm driving, or do I remove myself from the stage, slow down, get perspective, and choose a different outcome? And thankfully, my story ended um, through a long healing journey, multiple years of walking through very painful healing journey with my wife, to get to a point where we're now in the best season that we've ever been. But it was a long journey of like getting honest, being transparent, disclosing details, and realizing that I can't do this on my own, and I
Mm,
need people in my life to help me walk through this. But we were committed to each other,
mm-hmm.
and I was committed to a life that was like, how do you achieve and change the world and not lose your life? And that was the question I just was
Yeah.
stuck with. Like, ambition and sustainability felt like two opposites on a linear line.
Right.
Like, you choose either ambition, and we have a lot of examples where that is glorified
Oh,
and
totally.
praised.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I saw a post in not to make, I don't know Tom Brady. I don't claim to have any touch, but when he was, getting divorced, there was a picture I remember seeing online of Tom Brady with his hands like this, and he had his 7 Super Bowl rings,
Right.
and his divorce was just going public, recent divorce. And just reading through the comments of just people saying, I don't really think he cares. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
And I think while we would say, oh gosh, that's cold and that's extreme, that's how we all live in our ambition, is like, I am success driven. I
Right.
want to make an impact. I want to change the world.
Right.
And there's this neglect to like what a good life actually looks like and what
Yeah.
success actually looks like.
Yeah,
So
dude. Wow. Listen, folks, you can see why I was so excited to talk to Adam. I mean, I think for us to be able to lead well, and Adam, I'd welcome your thoughts on this. I think for us to be able to lead well, we many times we need to do some work to put the oxygen mask over our own face before we do the ambition around us, right? And I think that's what I hear you talking about is like, man, if we cannot get maybe a healed why, if we can't find that balance between sustainability and ambition, it's definitely going to impact our ability to impact
yeah,
the world, right? And if we are one of the crazy ones who thinks that we might be able to change the world or to have a positive impact, this is something that we've got to get right. Does everybody's healing process have to be painful? Is it always painful? Like, is there any way I can avoid the pain and heal my why, Adam?
oh man, what a amazing question. It's there's an interesting visual I've been drawing out, which is, I call it the ambition trap.
Okay.
And what happens is, a lot of times, especially when we're younger, like, we're just driven, we're hungry.
Right.
If you're in your 20s, you just want to touch the world, you want to build something, and you're in your 30s, you're starting to experience probably some success, and your 40s, you're starting to feel either hopefully the benefits of that or the consequences, depending on how you're showing up.
Sure.
But when you're younger, like, we have ambition and we have mission that we want to go build.
Right.
What we don't understand is that there's a motive underneath all of that. There's a why.
Yeah.
Find your why.
Yeah.
If that why is unhealed, we like to think that as my mission grows, I don't know, all that stuff will get figured out. I'll manage it. Those little addictions, those little ways of thinking, that little, physical thing in my body or my marriage or whatever, it'll all work out. What happens, and you see this in sports too, they say money makes you a bigger whatever you already are. I like to say success makes you a bigger whatever you already are. Success just magnifies what's already there. So if there's an unhealed motive to prove that I'm enough when your mission is tiny, what's it like when you're the CEO of a company that is super successful, or you're running a nonprofit that has reputation, or you're a pastor of a large congregation and you have influence and reputation. If you leave that unhealed for a long time, it leads to a chaotic outcome, because you start to feel trapped. I can't be known now. Nobody can know who I really am. If you knew who I really am, I'd lose everything. I'd lose my friends, I'd lose my job. So you hide. And when you hide, all of this just continues to fester. And we see this all the time, leader after leader. So the question I have to your question is, how do you care when you're 24? Because at the peak of success and you're trapped, it's too late. You just ride it out. You're Lance Armstrong going, I'm not doping, I'm not doping, I'm not doping. And then you lose it all. I guess I was doping. And he comes out to say, once he lost everything in the big collapse, he's got a famous interview where he's just like, man, I've never felt more free, because I'm not hiding anymore. It's all out there. And now I can go build again from a healed place, because I'm finally able to say what I was driven by.
Man, it piles up, doesn't it? It piles up and then traps you in that stuff. How do I know if my motivation is sick or my why is sick? How do I know? Like, that feels like really tough to like, I don't know, man. How did you get there? How were you like, oh, whoops, my why is misdirected?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a long journey of a lot of conversations and unpacking this question, because I swung to the other side. I was like, well, just let go of ambition. And that just leads to depression. And that leads to purposelessness. So like, the answer can't be like an ambitionless life. Don't hustle. Don't build.
Gosh. Yes. Okay.
So if I'm going to continue to build and be successful, how are the guys that are doing it at scale lasting and succeeding? And what I found is it's really just an intention of motivation. It's less probably formulaic and more about an intention that you regularly come back to. Man, why am I really doing what I do? And it starts with naming the lies that I believe. A lot of times there's a narrative in your life that you've believed. Unfortunately, it comes a lot of times from our childhood. Or maybe it doesn't. It doesn't always have to be a big T trauma. It could be a little T trauma, or a lot of things over your life. Or it could just be a moment in your life where it was a setback. You tried something and you failed. So now it's a narrative in your mind that's embarrassing. And so it's usually a trauma or a shame event or an embarrassing event, or and they create these narratives in our life that when we don't let them come out. And I don't say, JB, man, I have for my whole life believed I wasn't enough. And so everywhere I show up, I try to be enough. And I will try to be the best. I remember being 11 or 12 and I got this award for most improved player of the year on a soccer team. And I remember being mad. Why? Like, I don't even remember. I don't know why an 11-year-old would be mad, but man,
Yeah.
I remember as I was like walking through, it's like, I remember being mad. And I remember being like, I'm not most improved. Like, I was the best. Like, if I was most improved, that meant that at one point I wasn't
The best.
improved. So don't tell me I'm the most improved.
Yes.
Dude. And like that, like repeated itself for years and years, and then
Yeah.
in business, and then, you know, and you realize, like, man, until I like gave language to that, and you have to do the hard work. Only you know.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what that is for you.
Yeah.
It might be something your dad said, or
Yeah.
something you've just said to yourself, or something that happened in your life.
Jeez.
But
You know, dude, it reminds me of, I think I first heard Brene Brown share this, but it was her reflection, maybe from Father Richard Rohr, perhaps, about
yeah,
these three kind of key lies that people tend to believe about themselves, which
yeah,
are, I am what I do,
yep,
I am what I have, or
yep.
I am what other people say I am. Those are
That's
three
great.
big ones, like three big ones. And you know, if I'm to assess my why, or what's motivating me, or where I think I'm headed, if I'm to assess my ambition, I think one of the first questions I'm asking if I'm a leader is it in any way trying to fuel the lie or answer the question of, my value and identity come from either what I do, what I have, or what other people are saying about me.
That's good.
You know, I
Yeah, I
think,
love that.
and that is like, you know, that's, to your point, that's something to wrestle through. Like, those aren't easy answers to come to, but it is the pursuit of meaning in those, you know, in asking about our motivation, I think, where we can uncover, you know, some really some powerful revelations, man. And it sounds
Yeah.
like they've been significant for you. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, we have similar to that. I like to talk about the 5 stages of motivate, or the 5 maturities of motivation. We call them the levels of maturity, and maturity may or may not be the right word, but it's like in the most selfish form,
Mm-hmm.
motivation is coming from a broken place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to prove something. I am out to, you know, in it for myself. And some of us have experienced leaders like that, or
Right.
we've been leaders like that,
Yep.
where it's like, man, that person is only in this for themselves. Their motivation is purely selfish,
Right.
because it's coming from pain. The other couple of levels of maturity or of motivation are perception and insecurity. Perception, recognize. I love that question that you were just posing. Like, am I what others say about me? And we spend our whole life, our motivation is how other, like, managing perception.
Yep.
Or it comes from insecurity, which is like, I don't know, you tell me who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who I am. And then we start to shift towards, like, we all want to be mission driven.
Right.
We all want to be on mission and living a life on purpose. And mission driven can be a noble motivation to get to, and we want to be that way. That starts to come from actual joy. And it's amazing how many people I talk to are like, are you loving your life? And they hate their life.
Yeah.
Their lives are miserable. They're successful in some way and they built cool things, but they aren't loving their life. And so it's like, man, are you really on mission? I don't know that your motivation is like where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then I think the like highest level of motivation is, and you know, you have people like Bob Goff and some of these guys who's like, man, their motivation is purely others. They're just in this to help lift other people and help them win.
Mm-hmm.
And we all want to be around those people. I want them as my coaches.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what's weird though, in especially mission driven work, is we can think we're others focused at the detriment of ourselves. So I sacrifice, I give, I'm in ministry, or I have this sacrificial life and I sacrifice myself. And so it's like, that's also not healthy or sustainable.
Yeah.
So,
wow, dude.
Where's your motivation?
Man, I love it. Okay. Listen, thank you for taking some time to kind of unpack a little bit of this for us. I think it's so powerful, man. And just so thankful that there are leaders like you who care enough to share this story, because I think its impact can be really, really profound. When you, if you strip away kind of titles, jargon, that sort of thing, and you just think from your angle, from your perspective, what does great leadership actually look like to you?
Mm. I think the best leaders, like great leaders, are um in it to help others. Like I can learn to make impact on the world
Hmm.
in a way that everyone around me is well
Yeah.
and is thriving. And a lot of times we look in our rearview mirror and there's a line of bodies.
Yeah.
That's not good leadership.
Yeah.
You might be cool and tough and cutthroat, and you've decisive and all the things,
Yeah.
but that's not leadership.
Yeah.
The ability to bring others around and help everyone thrive and flourish and live on mission with clarity, I think is great leadership.
Totally. What do you think probably too many leaders get wrong about leading people?
I just I don't know, man. I just think for most of us, we're all just trying to survive.
Ah,
I don't know. It's like, how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing?
yeah.
Most answers are busy, followed by busy, busy, busy. You know, the busy bees.
Yeah.
It's just like our pace isn't serving us in our culture.
Mm.
Our pace of life, it doesn't make us better leaders. I actually think you're more effective if you're healthy and healed.
Mm.
If you're unhealthy, like, you're just bringing toxicity around you.
Mm.
You're creating toxicity in your kids, in your staff,
Yeah.
because the way you're showing up.
Dude, reading between the lines a little bit, it's like what I hear you saying is that perhaps what many leaders get wrong about leading other people is coming to conclusions about what success looks like for them, right, on their behalf, when it really is maybe a little bit more holistic than hitting the KPI, right? It's hitting the KPI the right way with the right team of people, the right butts in the right seats, driving the right kinds of outcomes, in ways that, that all of us, your comment about us trying to survive, yes, and thrive, right? And so what I hear in that is like, we have objectives as leaders, not just to hit the outcomes, but to hit the outcomes in meaningful ways that help other human beings hit their outcomes as well too, right? That's where things start to get sustainable and you find some momentum and that sort of thing. So, okay.
That's so good, man. You can have the right what with the wrong why.
Yeah.
And that creates an unsustainable how.
Yep.
So what you're doing, the mission can be great. It can be exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But why you do it, being unhealed, creates how you actually show up.
Right.
The how you run a team.
Right.
The how you lead. The how of what success is defined as.
Yep.
Like, all of those things get hijacked. And it's not what you're doing that makes it unsustainable. It's how we're doing it that makes it so unsustainable.
Right.
And it was how I was doing it for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, totally. Do you see yourself as a coach? In your role today? Why or why don't you see yourself as a coach?
Yeah, coach is interesting to me. I've actually been kind of like, what's the difference between, all the terminology out there today with coaches and consultants and fractional and all these different
advisors
things.
And everything else, right? Yeah.
There's so much language.
Yep.
And you also realize, like, gosh, man, that 18-year-old coach, has he like been through it? And I'm not like dogging on age, but like,
yeah, it depends on what they're coaching, right? I mean, it depends on what they're coaching. Yeah, that's good, man.
Depends on what they're coaching, yeah. And we all have something to coach. And I think maybe that's the point, is we all need coaches. We all need a coach. I needed a coach when I was young, and it doesn't matter about age. I wish I would have had a coach when I was a teenager
Yeah.
and had a high school mentor in my
Yeah.
life that was coaching me. So like, it's not about age, but I think the way I like to think about how I'm showing up is I just want a partner. And that's what sometimes I wanted in my life, is just a partner, like a partner in it with me,
Yeah.
thinking through what I'm thinking through, holding what I'm holding, carrying what I'm carrying.
What's the difference in your mind between a coach and a partner? I love that, dude. It's a great line. Give me some opinion on that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't really know what a coach is, but like a partner, I feel like.
What's your perception of what a coach is, though? Because you're really intentional with that. You know, there's something about coach that is not as true for you when you're looking at the kinds of people that you want to work with as partner is. Right? Am I hearing that right?
Yeah.
Don't let me put words in your mouth.
Well, and I think for me, my unique skill set or background is I enjoy getting into the weeds with people. Like I enjoy getting into the project. Sometimes a coach, at least my experience, has asked the right questions. They've asked great questions. They help me discover the answers. And I think that's got its place, is very meaningful. I also enjoy just partnering with people, finding the answer. Sometimes with some of my coaches is like, I know you're asking me that question, but I'm looking for an answer. Like I just want an answer. Like, don't coach me through just questions. Like, tell me what to do. How should I be thinking about this differently? And then model for me what it looks like. You know, when we think about even discipleship in a faith context, it's like, you know, first I do and you watch, and then you do and I watch, and we have these handoffs, and then I'm in the back seat and you're driving, and like there's this partnership, this collaboration together, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's good, man. It reminds me of sometimes the work that we do from a situational leadership standpoint, just in terms of assessing, like, how do we show up as a good leader in this space, right? When I think about partner or I think about mentor, I think about somebody who rolls in with pretty high levels of support, and sometimes a varying degree of either, you know, direction, or just a little bit more guidance, right? Depending on the level of competency that we've got in the person that I'm working with. You know, I think a partner is somebody who is really equipping you and encouraging you to use kind of what you've got. But then occasionally, if they see you running in front of a bus, they're gonna pull you back off the right. Yeah. It's like, and so the way I think we lead has to change based on how motivated or competent the people that we're leading are, right? And there are moments where, hey, we need to give direction, and there are other moments where, the question, you've got enough competency that the answer to that question might actually be with you already. Let's see if we can find it. If we can find it, it's going to build your confidence. But you got to be a discerning leader to know which of the two situations you're dealing with. Is this human going to benefit? Is this team going to benefit from more direction? Or are they going to be, benefit from a little bit more support and a little bit more guidance, and let them come to the answer and move forward, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Interesting. How do you think about developing people that you lead? How do you think about growing people? What's one practice that's helped you do that well?
I guess as a leader, when, in my season at building teams at Intuit and over the last 10 years, one of the things that we talk a lot about is impact over activity.
Okay. And
so trying to help, a lot of like one-on-ones and project outcomes, or even executive share outs and stakeholder, alignment and all that can tend to be centered around activity.
Yeah.
And I think what we're all after is, again, I want to touch the world. I want to make an impact. And so how do you actually help people tie their goals and objective to be tied to impact and transformation?
Yeah.
And because that's going to lead to a meaningful life. It's going to create clarity of what we're after. And if we're just talking about activity of, you know, activity would be the ways that we go about our day and the habits, and those things matter.
Yeah, almost
But
like,
man,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say almost like outputs, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're checking the boxes, you're getting the tasks, and you've got some outputs done. Like, yeah, I mean, activity. We can stay. I mean, I know something about activity. It's like spending way too long in my email inbox when I need to be thinking about,
yeah,
strategic leadership, right? I mean, I know like
yeah,
it's busy work.
yeah. Well, and you're going to get more out of a team member if you can help them think like a founder. And so, how do we actually help people have founder mindsets?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was always interested in. Like, a founder doesn't think about activity because they're thinking about the
Yeah.
impact that they're trying to make,
Yeah.
the metrics that actually matter. And so when you can help the team tap into that for themselves, they're in alignment with the vision.
Yeah.
And then that gives them ownership.
Is there a difference between what I would call ownership mentality and founder mindset, or is it just
Yeah,
a
same
different?
thing.
It's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have ways that you like to invite people into that ownership mindset, that founder mentality?
I think it's practically helping everybody understand what matters. Like, what are we
Yeah.
measuring? Because you should be measuring what matters.
Yeah.
And so are we measuring what matters? So if you're, in my world, a designer, and it's like, you know, we can design this and measure it because it looks nice, or
Right.
it's, inspiring,
Yep.
or it's functionally works, or we can measure it and how much conversion it's actually creating, and what designs actually create more conversion, and what actually helps move the needle. Like,
Yeah. So
just elevating the perspective of the outputs.
totally. What I hear you saying there is to share your own ownership or founder mentality with people who are learning and growing alongside you,
Yeah,
just so they can observe how you think about it. I totally agree. I think the other thing that works well is literally use those words and invite the people who you need to have that perspective, invite them to that, and
yeah,
engage them in that, empower them, say, hey, listen, if you were the owner of this business, if you were
yeah,
running this department, if you were the leader of this team, what would you do differently?
yeah.
Right. And how would you see it? Or what might your priorities be? Or how would you adjust that? Or what might, I think just invite people need invited to
I love
ownership
that.
mentality or that founder mindset. I think, more often, I
And
think that's
again, when
good.
your motive is unhealed, going back to that,
Yeah.
you approach everything selfishly. I've got to look capable, and so you think less about elevating them and more glorifying your ability or yourself, and
Yeah.
it limits your team. It limits your ability, and that's why I say, man, when you heal that motive, you invite people. You have no problem inviting someone to the table. Like,
Right.
how would you do this? I don't
Yeah.
have all the answers.
Yep. Um, Talk to me about the transformation that happens when you do find some healing around this why, when you do heal your hustle. Like what are you seeing, man? How's that? What changes?
Well, ultimately, what changes is your perspective. Tragically, I've had a couple of devastating outcomes with people that I've been under. One lost their life, and another, multiple have lost their missions. The mission becomes a mistake, if you will.
Mm,
Um, and so what changes is that doesn't happen.
mm,
It doesn't have to happen.
mm.
And so your perspective on your life ultimately is hopeful. And I think that's what we're all after, is just a hopeful perspective of what's ahead. The
Yeah.
best is yet to come, not the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah.
Not like, gosh, I do not think I'm going to make it, or I can't keep going, or I'm about to lose my marriage, or I'm going to lose my life. I met a guy in the Bay Area when we started Zimi, and he was older guy and had several exits, multiple exits, done very well. And I asked him, I said, what advice do you have for us? You know, we're just getting started. And he said, Adam, just enjoy the journey. And I was like, I was expecting like, you need to go meet so-and-so and you need to network with this person and like some like tactical thing. He said, enjoy the journey. And I said, okay, like, what does that mean? He said, well, I'm on my 4th marriage and all my kids hate me. And he said, I'd give it all away to have them back. And I just said, man, that's a lot. And I remember thinking like, enjoy the journey. So what changes? What's the transformation?
Yeah,
man, the hope is that you're loving the journey. You're enjoying the journey every day. What you're waking up and doing, you are enjoying the journey.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. How do we enjoy the journey? Doesn't mean we don't do hard things, man. Business is hard. Like decisions are very hard and things fail and life happens. Like this is not about like some speak it and therefore it will come or some,
it's not all Candyland. Is that what you're telling me, man?
Yeah. Wishful thinking that there's some way to, do this. I just think it's like in the day in and the day out, how do we learn the art of enjoying the journey in building the most impactful things that we can build and participate in the world. So if you're not doing that, dude, stop. Like,
yeah, totally, man. Well, I mean, I think that's the transition from, in my mind, the transformation from surviving, like trying to make sure that I don't bump into this pain or that that I do have the appropriate balance and I'm inviting the right voices into my life and that sort of thing, like making ends meet and then enjoying the journey, like savoring the experience, like pursuing meaning, the happiness. I love the word hopefulness. Dude, the workplace is like hopeless right now. Yeah. I mean, especially, man, with AI and everyone. I don't know anyone you talk to who isn't like, am I going to lose my job? I'm probably going to lose my job. Am I going to lose my job? This is tough, man. It's a tough environment. So having some hope, some rich relationships, right? I mean, a life of meaning and impact, I think sounds really pretty awesome. How are you enjoying the journey these days? Like, what is some, like, give us some, how's your journey going, man? I see a smile on your face. I see you writing a book. I know you're beginning to work with other people. Don't tell us, how are you enjoying the journey?
Yeah, I tell people all the time that I walk this through. I'm not a counselor. I don't pretend to be a master of all of this. I haven't figured it all out.
Yeah.
I still have to take myself through these processes and through these tools to remind myself to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
It's never going to go away.
So like, it's a practice. Like there's intentionality about approaching the enjoyment then.
Yeah. I'm not interested in creating a course that you graduate from. I'm interested in changing the habits that build your life.
Yeah, come on.
And there's not a course you take and I got the certification. I have a healed hustle now. No, that's not going to work. I want to change your how.
Yep.
And that comes through, for me, really, I'd say 4 primary things. One is, how is my community? Most leaders are lonely. There's a loneliness epidemic going on across our culture right now.
Yep.
How are my recharge routines? Like, how am I actually recharging and taking care of myself?
Yep.
Do I need to redefine what success is and actually have a way to walk through that? And then I have a tool that I use every morning that basically it's like a micro version. It's just like a quick inventory.
Yeah.
Like, who am I connecting with this week that I love?
Yep.
What recharge routines that bring delight are in my life? And for me, like, I have this silly one. I moved my phone away from my bed a number of years ago because I wanted better morning habits.
Yep.
And my goal is to touch the grass. And I have this nature preserve just down the street.
Literally to touch the grass.
Nature preserve, tall like weed,
Okay.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
blowing grass.
Yeah.
My goal is to touch that. I like to say it's like I, drag my hands through the grass. I don't do that. I break off something and I pick at it. That's how it typically works. But I just like get out there, because when I do that, there's something so grounding about it for me that's just like, I'm not in control of this life. It kind of, for me, it's a nice view. It oversees the mountains and stuff. And it just for a brief moment reminds me like, dude, life's good. And man, if I just get on my phone and I'm in bed and the first thing I see is AI is going to kill you and take you out and destroy everything. And that's how I start my day. And I have a lie that says I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Dude, no wonder we start to show up in our hustle.
Yes, absolutely, dude. Yes.
So chaotic.
Jeez, this is so good. Years from now, you look back and the people that you are leading and inspiring, what do you hope they say about you?
What do I hope they say about me? I hope there's not a devastating story that ended in tragedy. Like I hope it's.
I learned what not to do by watching Adam Cruz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I guess I probably hope they say, man, he enjoyed the journey. Like, just everywhere he went, he enjoyed the journey and helped me enjoy the journey in what I'm building.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Okay. Now, your ability, and we haven't, dude, we're already, 3 minutes off the top of the hour. And your ability to take these concepts and build them into like frameworks, dude, it's got to come from like your wealth of like product leadership knowledge. Like you can just see these things and pull them into kind of patterns that it just makes it so much easier for conception and understanding. I think it's really, really remarkable. If folks want to learn more about what you're up to, maybe they want to take this assessment that you've mentioned, where should we send them?
Yeah, you can, for the Healed Hustle side of the conversation, you can go to thehealedhustle.com. And if you want to talk about the things you're building, frameworks you're building, or trying to overhaul a product and get traction, you can just email me at adamcruzofficial@gmail.com, and I will respond and kick off a conversation.
Dude, that's so awesome. Thank you for the generosity of your time, for sharing your perspective. When's the book come out?
Target launch is middle of June. So
middle of June. All right. Can we pre-order yet? Or I suppose we go to thehealedhustle.com. That's probably where that's going to show up for us.
Yeah, it'll show up there. And yeah, we'll have more. I'm launching a personal site right now that'll have more on that.
Okay.
And here in the coming weeks. So,
dude, that's so awesome. Thank you for the way that you inspire us to find sustainability and to heal our hustle. It's inspirational to me, dude. I love talking to you and learning from you. And it makes me always ask questions like, am I doing this the right way? Am I pursuing it in a way that's sustainable? I think your honesty and transparency in approaching that conversation helps give me permission, and I'm sure many other leaders permission, to go ask some hard questions of ourselves and maybe make some adjustments and find some healing, so that ultimately, truly, the success, the impact, the happiness, the hopefulness that we're after can be realized a little bit more fully. So, Adam, so awesome to have you, and thanks for being part of the show, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me, JB. It's great chatting with you.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us live. It's been great. We do this every other Friday from 11 to noon, and we do it live so you can ask your questions. So always feel free to chat in if you've got a guest you'd like to hear. Send it my way. We would love to know about it. Until next time, thank you for joining. Hey, Coach.